What's going on, everybody? This is the day 4 wrap-up from the ISDE, the 2025 ISDE here in Bergamo, Italy, the 99th edition of this historic race. First of all, here in about 2 days, Italy might just burn to the ground. And that's how I'll lead this video in. As we start day 4, all eyes were on Andrea Verona and Josep Garcia. Garcia, of course, the 4-time defending ISDE champion. He's also the reigning world champion in the Enduro GP season, as well as the points leader. I've mentioned that numerous times over the last week or two, but all eyes were on those two riders. Garcia's won the last 4 ISDE. Verona, for 4 out of the last 5 years, 3 out of the last 4 years, has been Garcia's biggest nemesis for this race, but he's always been the bridesmaid and never the bride. Entering today's racing, anybody that was at any of the special tests got exactly what they wanted, and that was a battle between those two riders. Verona would take the first 3 special test wins on day number 4, while Garcia would lose 8 seconds of the lead that he had built up over the first 3 days. He'd come back in the 4th test, though. He'd win that one. He'd gain 5 seconds just in that test alone over Verona. Then we had a big surprise today. Test number 5, sorry. The French junior rider Leo Joyon would win that one. And then in the very next test, test number 6, the Italian junior rider Alberto Algari would claim the test win in that one. And that was a real big shock to everybody. You know, 2 juniors winning on a special day, on the same special day, and especially back-to-back like that. That was, I can't remember that happening. I know Garcia, I think, won test as a junior back in 2016 in Spain, but it's been a while since we've seen that. So that was pretty interesting, pretty cool. And then I went to test number 7. I went to test 3 and I went to test 7, and that was a highly partisan crowd for test number 7. And of course, the Italians wanted to step up and they delivered. Verona wins the final test of the day, and then Samuele Bernardini comes in about a minute later and gives the Italians a 1-2 finish on the day. And that crowd went nuts. It was actually really cool to see. The Italians, I mean, Europe in general, but the Italians are definitely passionate about motorcycle racing. And if you're here, you're seeing it. If you're not here, you're definitely missing out. And it was definitely something to witness. And I witnessed it 4 years ago when we were in Italy for the ISDE, but it's cool to see. And if you haven't been to an ISDE before, you need to go. We're going to Portugal next year. I'll do a follow-up video here in the next week or so on the details that I have so far on that race. But if you've never been to an ISDE before and you want to go, you need to make it happen, because it's definitely a cool event, and the people, especially in Europe, are definitely passionate about motorcycles. But as far as the day results go, Verona took the day 4 victory ahead of Garcia. Mikael Persson from Sweden would finish 3rd. He had 3 top 3 finishes on the day. Bernardini would finish 4th. He had a few top 3 finishes on the day. Albin Norben of Sweden rounded out the top 5. Italy's Morgan Lesiardo finished 6th ahead of the top junior rider for the day, once again, Kyron Bacon of Australia. Johnny Gerard would be the top American for day 4. He netted 3 top 10 finishes on the afternoon. He was 8th. Max Allin, the 3rd Swedish rider in the top 10. And then the French trophy rider Julien Rousali would claim 3rd in the final test of the day, and he'd round out the top 10 as far as the scratch results were concerned. The rest of the Americans, better day than yesterday on the average. 1 or 2 guys still struggling a little bit. I didn't talk to them since I did test 3 and test 7. I didn't have time to go back to the paddock, and I haven't talked to the guys since, so I'm not entirely sure what their story was for the day. Better performances from some of the guys, though. Like I said, Johnny was 8th on the day. Grant was 4th junior for the afternoon, 15th scratch. Right behind him was Cody Barnes, and he looked a lot more comfortable today. He was smooth on the power. Little few mistakes here and there, but it's hard to put down perfect tests every single time, and especially when there's 7. I think this is the first day I've ever actually seen 7 tests, and this is my 7th ISDE, so that was different for today to have 7 tests and 3 of them back to back to back during the middle portion of the afternoon. Josh Toth, I mentioned yesterday, hit the ground, 12 stitches, Doc patched them all up. He was solid. You can tell he's not feeling the greatest, just with feeling a little bit under the weather. I think just with the heat and the long days on the bike, and then the crash yesterday. He would be 36th at the end of today's racing. Dante had a solid afternoon, but he crashed in test 2 this morning, and that really hurt the rest of his performances. He landed in 38th on the timesheets. Cooper Jones, he had one really good test. It was 21st in a test. Pretty consistent in the 40s and 50s on the rest of them. That 21st test, if you've been seeing anybody's Instagram stories and posts, it was the test with all the ribbon with the lake view over it. That was the test that Cooper put in a really good performance today. He ended up 55th for the afternoon, and then Mateo had a second bad day in a row, unfortunately. I haven't had a chance to really talk to him at all to see what could possibly be going on, but he ended up 70th for the day. As far as the women were concerned, Brandy took 5 of the 7 test wins on the day, as well as the day outright victory after Danielle McDonald took yesterday's scratch win for the women. Brandy won by 11 seconds over Corey Steed. She had a test win of her own, and McDonald was 3rd scratch for the women. She also won a test today, so that was the 7 test wins between those 3 riders today. Rachel Gudish, 4th on the day. She actually put in times that were better than Brandy and Corey. I think they were actually at the test where, I think one of them was at the test when McDonald won it. So Rachel's definitely been putting in strong performance this week. It's actually been really cool to see. This is probably one of her strongest 6 days performances on record. So we enter into day 5. Before I get into the results, day 5 tomorrow. Some more of the same tests that we had today. Some of the old tests that we had from yesterday, and I think maybe day 1 and 2. We're waiting right now on possible modifications to the route and or to the special test. Well, actually, it'd have to go hand in hand. They're calling for roughly 2.5 inches of rain tomorrow, and that's really going to throw a wrench in the works if we get that. What I'm hearing, what I heard yesterday even, is that the gravel pit test, the test 1 and test 4 special test for the first 2 days, they left everything the way it was, the ribbon, the stakes, everything, just in case a test gets flooded out tomorrow, where they have to reroute it before the start of the day and bring everybody to that test so we can get 6 or 7, 5, whatever the number is supposed to be of special test in for tomorrow's racing. So we're waiting on that one. We probably won't know until really, really late tonight at 6:30 right now here in Italy. We're probably not going to know anything until, I want to say, maybe 10 o'clock at best. It's going to be a long night for a lot of people over at the paddock. As far as the World Trophy team standings go, Italy has the lead by over 4 minutes, about 4 minutes, 17 seconds, I think, over France. Sweden's right there, nipping at their heels, 36 seconds behind the French team. Spain holds on to 4th. After today's racing, they're 3 minutes outside of the podium contention, so pretty much everybody's locked in unless somebody has a really, really good day or a really, really bad day. USA still sits in 5th, 24 seconds behind Spain, and as far as our foursome goes, we're consistent. Obviously a couple of guys have had some bad days, Josh in particular, but Spain's really being carried in that 4th spot by Garcia. Their anchor rider right now is Julio Pando. He's really struggling. I'm not sure why. He was kind of the anchor last year, but I don't think it was this bad. But Garcia's performance is really helping Spain's cause up to be in 4th instead of 5th. And like I said, that with 24 seconds, the guys can make that up. They can make that up, and if we get 2.5 inches of rain, that might be their opportunity to do it. They're not going to be able to get podium unless somebody breaks, I don't think, but they definitely have a shot at 4th, and the rain tomorrow could certainly help their cause in that one. The Junior World Trophy standings, Italy has nearly a 1-minute lead over France now, who moves into 2nd. Australia drops to 3rd. Corey McMahon had a really rough day, and that dropped Australia from P2 to P3 in the Junior World Trophy standings. USA still runs 4th. They only have 12 seconds advantage, though, over Spain, so the boys really got to step it up tomorrow. Like I said, The rain may help them. If it gets muddy, two of our three guys have been slogging around in mud all season long. So it's really going to come down to who can keep the bike going, really, and just keep it on two wheels. That's going to be a big ask if we get all that rain tomorrow that they're calling for. In the women's trophy standings, USA has one hand on the trophy. All they got to do is finish tomorrow. They've got over a half-hour lead at this point over Australia, who moved back into second today. Maddie Healy had a really strong performance today. Definitely a lot better than the first 2 days, where it just about anything that could go wrong for her did go wrong. But she picked it up for day 3. She was even better on day 4, and that helps Australia get back into the runner-up position in the women's trophy standings. France drops back to 3rd because of that, but they're only a minute behind Australia at this point, so anything could still happen on day 5. But the rain's gonna become a factor for that one. I look for Danielle McDonald to put in a strong performance because she's ridden some of the mud GNCCs that we had this year, so she's gotten used to it. Maddie, there's not a lot of mud races in Australia. Jess has been there and done that, so she ought to be fine. She looked real solid today, so things could go either way for Australia tomorrow with all the rain. Italy runs in 4th. They're 45 minutes off the lead pace, and then Great Britain is in 5th, and they're over an hour off of the lead time. And then as far as the club classifications go individually for the day, Thorne Devlin was 3rd scratch. He was sitting 1st overall, I think, in the middle portion of the day, and then a 19th place finish in the final test in Albino. And I don't know if he crashed during that test or if his bike was already damaged before he got to that test. It looks like his bars were bent. I haven't had a chance to really talk to him at all since I've been here, but Thorne Devlin was 3rd scratch on the afternoon. Brody Johnson was 6th. I will mention Thorne had 2 wins, a 2nd, and a 3rd during the 7 tests today. I will mention that. So Brody Johnson was 6th scratch. 11th was Cole Whitmer. 14th was Jaden Donners. Right behind him was Anson Maloney, 15th scratch on the day, just ahead of Italian legend Alex Salvini. Chase Landers was 17th for the afternoon. Leighton Smale rounded out the top 20. Jojo Cunningham was 22nd. Jojo looked really good in the last test. First and last test, he really liked that Albino test. They ran it twice today, and he went 9-7 in the 2 runs on that Albino test. So really good job for him. Lane Whitmer was 26th today. Lane Lorenzo was 27th. Will Seven Piper was 29th. He dumped it in front of me in the 3rd test. Way to go, Will. Max Gerson was 31st. Zane Roberts was 32nd. So the 2 Beta 2-stroke boys rode together today. Ryder Tomaselli was 35th. Collier Martinez was 50th. And Eric Stevenson was 134th to round out the day. The women's club team, Ava Silvestri, Ellie Windland, Ashley Gage, like I keep saying every update, they're sitting 1, 2, and 4 individually in the women's club scratch. They've already won it as a team just because they have 3 riders. But Ava's been looking really good. Ellie looked really good the 2 tests that I saw the girls today. Ashley looked better today. She looked like she put in a lot better performance, so it was good for them. The club team standings, Raviconda runs 2nd. That's the team of Cunningham, Devlin, and Whitmer. They run 2nd. They're 4.5 minutes off of the MC Italia A team, so they're pretty much stuck in 2nd as long as they keep up their times. Team GTBN moves into 4th. They've been sitting in that top 5 all week behind another club team, but they move into 4th. That's the team of Leighton Smale, Jaden Donners, and Lane Lorenzo. Missouri Mutters drops to 5th. That's Chase Landers, Will Seven Piper, and Lane Whitmer. The Mojo Motorsports SXS team of Anson Maloney, Ryder Tomaselli, and Zane Roberts runs in 6th. The XC Gear team of Brody Johnson, Collier Martinez, and Colton Shields runs 7th. And the Hugh Legacy Racing team keeps moving up the list. They're in 14th. That's Max Gerson, Tanner Whipple, and Eric Stevenson. I also missed Tanner Whipple. He was 72nd for the day. There we go. Colton Shields was 43rd for the day's racing. He looked actually really good in the final test. He was 20th in that test in Albino. He looked really good. That's going to wrap it up for day number 4. I will see you guys for day number 5. If you want to watch the pre-race show, the final test of the day show, as well as the post-race show for day number 5, as well as the final moto on day number 6, go to fim-moto.tv. Check out everybody else's social medias: Megan Davis Photos, MJMS Photos, Cato Photo, Ryan McCaslin, Ian Howells. And yeah, that's going to do it from here at day number 4. I will see you guys tomorrow for day number 5.